This is the cellular jail on the remote Andaman Islands. To the British colonial government, this was the ultimate edge of the world. To the prisoners sent here, it was Kala Pani, the Black Water. The facility was designed as a panopticon, 7 massive wings radiating from a central watchtower. The geometry ensured that every inmate was visually isolated, trapped in a system where they could neither see nor hear another human being. The architecture of that isolation was precise. Each solitary cell measured exactly 7 feet wide by 14.8 feet long. These cells were the destination for revolutionaries like Batu Keshwar Dutt and Veer Savarkar, men the British needed to keep not just silent, but stagnant. The British used these spatial dimensions to induce a specific biological outcome. By restricting the body to a 100-square-foot box, they intended for the inmates' muscles to atrophy, effectively using the architecture to rot the prisoner's physical capability from the inside out. The body is governed by a strict use-it-or-lose-it principle. Without resistance to move against or room to exert force, the heart slows, bone density drops, and muscle tissue begins to waste away. To survive, the inmates had to turn their cages into laboratories. They had to find a way to maintain elite physical condition without a single piece of equipment. They developed a system of high-tension biomechanics that operated within the constraints of the cell. This was Kothri strength, a method of generating maximum physical output with near-zero spatial travel. The colonial administration could control the geography and the rations, but the prisoners realized they could still exert total authority over their own physiology. This chart illustrates the standard threshold for muscle growth. To trigger a significant adaptive response, the body typically needs to work against a load exceeding 80% of its maximum capacity. In a cell, there are no heavy weights. The heaviest thing available is the prisoner's body. To get stronger, the inmates had to find a way to make that 150-pound body feel like 300 pounds to their nervous system. They utilized time under tension. By slowing movement down to a crawl, or pausing at the point of maximum strain, they forced the muscle fibers to fire for extended periods. This artificially increases the mechanical load, tricking the brain into signaling for more strength. They supplemented this tension with extreme volume. By performing hundreds of repetitions, they fatigued the muscles to the point where the nervous system was forced to become more efficient at recruiting every available fiber. The result was a body that prioritized neurological efficiency over raw mass. They weren't just building muscle mass, they were actively training their brains to unlock more of the power they already had. Within the narrow corridor of a 7-foot cell, movement is forced to become vertical. Every major muscle group has to be engaged without stepping forward. The result is the burpee. The movement hits every system in a single cycle. The squat loads the quads, the plank engages the core, the push-up recruits the chest, and the vertical jump fires the calves. Inmates practiced greasing the groove, distributing these movements across a 12-hour day. By hitting 10 or 20 reps every 30 minutes, they accumulated thousands of repetitions, keeping their metabolic rate and nervous systems perpetually active. This volume eventually triggers the Golgi tendon organs. These are safety sensors that tell the brain to shut down muscle contraction during extreme fatigue to prevent the muscle from tearing itself off the bone. The prisoners' constant training conditioned their brains to ignore these safety signals. Through this disinhibition, they increased their rate coding, the speed at which the brain sends firing commands to the muscle fibers. This wasn't just physical exercise. It was a systematic rewiring of the nervous system, enabling the body to sustain high-output activity under extreme deprivation. This conditioning became the biological support for their resistance. When the prison system tried to break them, the inmates had a physical reservoir to draw from. For men like Batu Keshwar Dutt, the increased structural density and neurological tolerance built in the cell allowed them to survive years of hard labor and physical assault that would have incapacitated an untrained body. This physical economy was also a factor in their 63-day hunger strikes. Their bodies had been trained to operate with extreme efficiency, slowing the metabolic burn rate and allowing them to endure long weeks without food while maintaining the focus required to negotiate with their captors. Their physical sovereignty was the one thing the architecture couldn't touch. By mastering the 100 square feet they were given, they maintained a sense of bodily autonomy that the prison was designed to destroy. Today, most of us aren't facing the Kalapani, but modern life still imposes severe constraints on our space and our time. The biological reality remains. The human body doesn't need a sprawling gym to reach elite conditioning. It only needs resistance and the discipline to move against it. AuraFitness applies these same high-yield, small-space protocols. It uses the science of time under tension and frequency to help you build strength in whatever space you have available. By applying the lessons of Kothri strength, any room can be transformed from a limitation into a laboratory for physical transformation.